When my ex-husband died last year in an accident, you'd think the worst of the pain would have been behind me. But instead, I inherited a mess, not just grief, but betrayal, custody battles, and the most manipulative in-laws you could imagine. My ex and I were in the middle of a divorce when he passed away.
Why?
Because I discovered he had been cheating on me for years. He'd fathered 2 sons with his affair partner. And when she died shortly after him, those boys were left orphaned. That's tragic, I know, but my daughters, 17 and 15, were the ones who discovered the cheating. They saw the messages. They overheard the conversation. And now, my ex-in-laws wanted custody of my daughters and wanted to move in with me. The first request? Being fought in court. The second? Absolutely not. 2. The weekend market incident. It was my youngest's birthday weekend, and I took her and her sister to the local weekend farmers market place. Fresh bread smells drifting through the air, the clinking of coins, kids laughing. I gave her some cash and let her pick whatever she wanted. An hour later, my phone rang. Her voice was trembling. "Mom, some people won't let me go. They're saying I'm unchristian." My stomach dropped. I grabbed my oldest. What I saw still makes my blood boil. 6 older women, blocking my daughter and scolding her like she was a criminal. "You should be a good big sister to your poor orphan brothers," one sneered. "You're disrespecting your grandparents," another accused. These women weren't strangers. They were from my ex-in-law's church. Exactly the lies my ex-mother-in-law had been spreading. I stepped between them and my daughter, sent my girls to the car, and turned my full attention on the holy hit squad. "You dare corner my child in public and harass her over your gossip?" They shot back with nonsense about me failing as a good Christian wife for not obeying. Got so heated, we were all kicked out of the market. They followed me to my car like vultures until I drove away. 3. Discovering the source. That night, after my girls were asleep, I called a friend from that church. He told me everything. My ex-mother-in-law had posted a massive sob story in the church. My daughters and I were leaving her homeless and penniless, saying we refused to speak to her, blaming us for taking her grandsons away. Oh, and she told them the 2 boys were my surrogate children, that I rejected them because they were boys.
Disgusting.
What she didn't mention, that the boys were for her. The turning point. Here's the thing about that church. They're strict about many things, but infidelity? That's their ultimate sin. Man or woman, it's equally condemned. And I still had all the receipts from the divorce proceedings. Pictures of my ex and his affair partner in our home. Texts between messages from his parents admitting they knew and supported him. Screenshots of them calling my daughters bastards and blaming them for his death, 2 days after he died. And because the divorce wasn't finalized, I could legally release all of it. The next day, I went to a print shop. I spared no expense. High-quality glossy paper for every damning photo, every text message, every ugly email. Then I made personalized booklets, the kind the church hands out during service. But when you open them, the very first page was a full-color photo of my ex making out with his mistress in our living room. And affair partner's name, a love story. The rest of the booklet? A chronological scrapbook of their cheating, my ex-in-laws enabling, and their abuse toward my daughters. The next Sunday, I quietly slipped stacks of them onto the church's songbook table. It was nuclear. By the time I got home, the gossip mill was in full swing. The Facebook group exploded. The pastor had to beg people to keep their language PG. People were furious, not just about the affair, but about my in-laws calling children bastards and blaming them for their father's death. 2 handwritten apology letters arrived for my daughters. The church even invited us to join for support. As for my ex-in-laws, they were shamed out of the church entirely. My ex-Emil's final Facebook post was a pity party about how no one cares for the elderly anymore and how her great son would have taken care of her. With what money, I have no idea. Climactic payoff, 1 to 2 minutes. This wasn't just about revenge. It was about protecting my daughters. They'd been cornered, berated, and lied about, and now the truth was out for everyone to see. When I think back to those 6 women surrounding my crying child, I'm glad I didn't just yell that. I made sure the shame they tried to put on my girls came back to its rightful owners tenfold. Sometimes, you don't need to scream the loudest to be heard. You just need to hand people the truth in a form they can't ignore. And in my ex-MIL's case, the truth was printed in high definition. This story gave you chills. Hit that like button and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying act of revenge you've ever seen? And of course, subscribe for more stories that prove karma is very, very real.